Ladies and gentlemen, let me share a powerful truth with you today. The greatest battles we face are not external, they are internal. The mind is the battlefield, and it has enemies lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. But here's the good news: these enemies can be defeated, and you are the only one who holds the power to win this fight. The mind is an incredibly powerful tool. It shapes our reality, determines our decisions, and influences the direction of our lives. However, just like any powerful tool, the mind can be vulnerable to forces that work against its potential. One of the most formidable enemies of the mind is fear, which has the potential to paralyze us and prevent us from achieving great things. Fear is not just a feeling or an emotion, it is a deep-rooted force that affects our actions, our thinking, and even our ability to dream. But the truth is that fear, when understood and confronted, can be transformed from a barrier into a catalyst for growth and success. When fear takes hold, it often comes disguised in different forms. It might appear as self-doubt, as the nagging voice that tells us we're not good enough or that we don't have what it takes to succeed. It could be the fear of failure that stops us from trying something new or stepping outside our comfort zones. Fear often keeps us in a state of inertia, preventing us from taking the necessary steps to move forward. For some, fear is not an occasional visitor, but a constant companion, whispering in their ear every time they attempt something ambitious or take a risk. The longer we let fear dictate our actions, the more it tightens its grip on us and the less we achieve. At its core, fear is an illusion. It thrives on uncertainty and the unknown. We fear what we cannot control or what we cannot predict, but in reality, most of what we fear never actually comes to pass. We often find ourselves imagining the worst-case scenario, building an entire story in our minds about how things might go wrong. But the truth is that those worst-case scenarios rarely materialize. The fear of failure, for instance, can make us hesitate to take the first step toward a goal. We tell ourselves that we might fail, so we choose not to try. Yet, in reality, failure is not the end. It's simply part of the process of learning and growing. When we allow fear to keep us from taking action, we miss out on the opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. One of the most powerful ways to combat fear is to understand it for what it truly is. Fear feeds on our inaction, and the moment we begin to move forward in spite of our fear, it starts to lose its power. When we take that first step, whether it's starting a new project, confronting a difficult situation, or pursuing a new opportunity, we often find that the fear was not as big or as overpowering as we imagined. The fear of doing something new can be paralyzing, but when we finally take action, we often realize that the worst we imagined didn't happen, and in fact, we are much more capable than we thought. In many cases, the biggest barrier to success is not the task at hand, but the fear we have of attempting it. We may feel overwhelmed by the scale of what lies ahead, thinking that the challenge is too great for us to handle. However, when we break things down into smaller, manageable tasks, we take away the overwhelming aspect of fear. The mind then starts to shift from the paralyzing idea of failure to the empowering act of taking one step at a time. The more we confront fear in small doses, the less control it has over us. Each time we face our fears, we build resilience, and the mind grows stronger and more confident in its ability to handle whatever challenges may come. It's also important to remember that fear is often rooted in the fear of judgment. The fear of what others might think can hold us back from pursuing our true passions and ambitions. We might hesitate to start something new because we worry about how others will perceive us, whether we will succeed or whether we will be criticized. But here's the key: the opinions of others are often shaped by their own fears, doubts, and insecurities. The truth is that no one has the power to dictate your potential except for you. When we allow the fear of judgment to dictate our choices, we surrender our power to external forces. But when we let go of that fear and start making decisions based on our own desires and goals, we step into our true potential. To conquer fear, we must also learn to reframe it. Instead of seeing fear as something to be avoided or eradicated, we can choose to see it as a signal of growth. Fear arises when we are about to step into new territory, when we are about to push ourselves beyond our comfort zones. In this sense, fear is not something to shy away from. It's a sign that we are about to experience something significant. Every time we face our fears, we grow. Every time we step through the barrier of fear, we expand our potential. In this way, fear becomes not a force that holds us back, but a signal of progress. Ultimately, the path to overcoming fear begins with the decision to take action. The more we resist fear and take steps despite it, the more we develop the mental strength and resilience needed to tackle bigger challenges in the future. Fear will always be a part of the journey, but it doesn't have to control us. By confronting fear, reprogramming our mindset, and embracing discomfort, we unlock our true potential and move one step closer to becoming the person we are meant to be. When we choose to live with courage, fear loses its power, and we become unstoppable. Doubt is one of the most insidious enemies of the mind. It has a way of creeping into our thoughts and holding us back from taking action. Self-doubt can paralyze us, preventing us from pursuing our dreams and stepping into our true potential. It's not always loud or overt, but rather it manifests in subtle ways, such as second-guessing our decisions, questioning our abilities, or worrying about the outcomes of our actions. It can affect anyone, regardless of how successful or experienced they are. The reality is that doubt is not a reflection of our true capabilities, but rather a product of our fears and insecurities. One of the main reasons doubt can be so crippling is that it creates a mental loop. When we doubt ourselves, we often start to overanalyze situations, expecting the worst and imagining all the possible failures that could occur. This leads to indecision and inaction. The more we dwell on the uncertainty, the harder it becomes to make decisions, and the more we get stuck in a cycle of overthinking. Instead of moving forward with confidence, we end up hesitating, waiting for the perfect moment, or looking for more information that we think will make us feel more secure. In the process, we lose valuable time and opportunities. Doubt thrives on this hesitation. It feeds on the idea that we aren't ready, that we don't have enough knowledge or experience to succeed. But the truth is that we often know enough to take the first step, and success doesn't always come from being perfect or having all the answers. To break the cycle of doubt, it's important to recognize that doubt is often a sign of growth. When we're about to embark on something new or challenging, it's natural to feel uncertain about our ability to succeed. Doubt is a part of the process, signaling that we are stepping out of our comfort zone and into a space where we are stretching our capabilities. Instead of fearing doubt or letting it hold us back, we can choose to see it as a signal that we are on the right track. Every time we face doubt and move forward despite it, we grow stronger, more capable, and more resilient. One of the most effective ways to deal with doubt is to take action. Negative thinking often becomes a barrier between where we are and where we want to be. It's easy to fall into the trap of negativity, especially when things are not going as planned or when we encounter obstacles. Negative thoughts, whether about ourselves, our circumstances, or the future, have a way of dominating our minds if we let them. They seem to be a natural response to challenges, but if left unchecked, they can spiral out of control, turning into self-doubt, anxiety, and even depression. However, negative thinking is not something we're born with. It's a learned behavior, and as such, it can be unlearned. The first step toward overcoming negative thinking is recognizing it for what it is: an automatic, often irrational reaction to uncertainty or fear. It is not the truth, but rather an interpretation of our experiences, colored by our fears, past failures, and insecurities. One of the most destructive aspects of negative thinking is how it can affect our actions. When we believe that things won't work out, that we're not good enough, or that failure is inevitable, we are less likely to take the risks that are necessary for growth. Negative thinking convinces us that we are not capable, that we should play it safe, and that pursuing our goals is not worth the effort. But this is a false narrative. Our thoughts shape our actions, and if we allow negative thinking to take the lead, we prevent ourselves from taking the necessary steps toward success. The key to overcoming this is to break the cycle of negative thought by actively choosing to focus on what's positive or what could be positive about a situation. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about shifting our perspective to find potential solutions, opportunities, and strengths, even in the face of adversity. Another important aspect of negative thinking is how it distorts our self-perception. Often negative thoughts are rooted in fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. These fears shape our beliefs about our abilities. For example, we may believe that because we failed once, we will always fail, or that if we make a mistake, others will judge us harshly. These thoughts create a self-fulfilling prophecy where we avoid taking action because we believe that failure is inevitable. The truth, however, is that failure is a natural part of the learning process, not a reflection of our worth or abilities. To break free from the grip of negative thinking, we need to change how we perceive ourselves. Instead of viewing setbacks as signs of inadequacy, we can choose to see them as opportunities for growth. Every mistake, every challenge, and every failure provides valuable feedback, helping us refine our approach and develop new skills. It's important to understand that we are not defined by our failures, but rather by how we respond to them. By shifting our mindset from a fixed negative outlook to one of growth and resilience, we start to see setbacks as stepping stones rather than insurmountable obstacles. To truly change our relationship with negative thinking, we must also embrace the power of positive affirmations and self-talk. The way we speak to ourselves matters. If we consistently tell ourselves that we are not capable, that we will fail, or that we're not good enough, we begin to internalize those beliefs. On the other hand, if we replace negative self-talk with empowering affirmations, we start to rewire our brains. This process is not about pretending to be something we're not. It's about reminding ourselves of our strengths, our resilience, and our potential. Every time we affirm our abilities and challenge negative thoughts, we take control of our mindset and redirect our focus toward what we can accomplish. The more we practice positive thinking, the more natural it becomes to approach challenges with optimism and confidence. Additionally, it is important to understand that overcoming negative thinking requires consistency and patience. It's not a one-time fix, but a continuous practice. The more we engage in positive self-talk, the more we disrupt the automatic negative thoughts that often arise. Over time, this rewires our neural pathways, allowing us to approach situations with a more balanced, optimistic perspective. One of the best ways to reinforce positive thinking is to keep a gratitude journal. Focusing on the things we are grateful for shifts our focus away from the negative and reminds us of the good that already exists in our lives. Whether it's personal achievements, supportive relationships, or even small everyday moments, regularly reflecting on the positive aspects of life helps us stay grounded and fosters a more optimistic mindset. Another effective technique to combat negative thinking is to become more aware of our thoughts and identify negative patterns. Once we recognize the recurring negative thoughts, we can begin to challenge and replace them with more realistic and constructive ones. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation or simply taking a few moments each day to observe our thoughts, can help us build awareness and control over our mental habits. Over time, mindfulness helps us detach from negative thoughts rather than getting caught up in them. The more we practice this awareness, the easier it becomes to stop negative thoughts before they spiral out of control. By choosing to focus on the positive, seeking solutions, and reframing our challenges, we empower ourselves to take charge of our thoughts and our actions. Another critical aspect of dealing with negative thinking is self-compassion. Many people fall into the trap of being overly critical of themselves, especially when things don't go as planned. We are often our harshest critics, and this critical inner voice fuels negative thinking. To counter this, we must practice kindness toward ourselves. Instead of berating ourselves for mistakes or shortcomings, we can treat ourselves with the same compassion we would offer to a friend in a similar situation. Self-compassion allows us to embrace our imperfections, learn from our mistakes, and move forward with a greater sense of peace and confidence. It reminds us that we are not defined by our failures, but by our ability to learn, grow, and improve. And ultimately, overcoming negative thinking is about changing our mindset and taking action. It's about recognizing that our thoughts do not define us and that we have the power to shape our reality. By focusing on solutions rather than problems, practicing positive self-talk, embracing failure as a learning experience, and being patient with ourselves, we can replace negative thinking with a mindset that empowers us to achieve our goals and become the best version of ourselves. Another critical enemy that holds many people back is the lack of self-mastery. The idea of mastering oneself might sound lofty or intimidating, but in its simplest form, self-mastery is the ability to control one's thoughts, actions, and emotions. It's about taking responsibility for the choices we make, understanding our impulses, and making conscious decisions to act in alignment with our goals and values. Self-mastery is not about perfection or rigidity, it's about growth and discipline. Without self-mastery, we are at the mercy of our emotions, external circumstances, and impulses. We allow distractions, negative emotions, and unproductive habits to dictate our actions. In contrast, when we practice self-mastery, we learn to take control of our reactions, manage our time effectively, and make decisions that align with our long-term goals. It is the foundation for success in all areas of life. One of the key aspects of self-mastery is self-awareness. Without awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we cannot hope to control them. Self-awareness is the ability to observe our internal state without judgment, to notice when we are being influenced by negative emotions or distractions, and to take steps to refocus our attention on what truly matters. Self-awareness allows us to identify patterns in our thinking and behavior that may be hindering our progress. Once we are aware of these patterns, we can make intentional changes to overcome them. Self-awareness also helps us stay grounded and present, enabling us to make decisions based on our values rather than on temporary emotions or external pressures. It is the foundation upon which self-mastery is built. When we are self-aware, we are more likely to make conscious choices that serve our long-term well-being and success. Another critical aspect of self-mastery is emotional regulation. Our emotions have a powerful influence on our behavior. When we are overwhelmed by negative emotions such as anger, frustration, or fear, it becomes difficult to think clearly or make rational decisions. Self-mastery requires us to recognize and manage our emotions in healthy ways. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions, but rather understanding them, acknowledging their presence, and responding to them in ways that support our goals. Emotional regulation helps us stay focused, calm, and productive, even in stressful or challenging situations. It is the ability to act with intention rather than being driven by emotional impulses. By practicing emotional regulation, we can avoid being derailed by negative emotions and stay on track toward achieving our goals. Self-mastery also involves creating habits that support success. Our habits define our daily lives and, by extension, our future. Whether it's maintaining a morning routine, setting aside time for learning and growth, or staying disciplined in the face of temptation, the habits we cultivate have a significant impact on our success. Self-mastery requires the discipline to stick to these positive habits, even when it's difficult or when we feel tempted to fall back into old, unproductive patterns. By focusing on building good habits and eliminating bad ones, we create a foundation for long-term success. Ultimately, self-mastery is about taking control of our lives, making conscious choices, and aligning our actions with our highest goals and values. It's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our destiny, regardless of the challenges we face. By practicing self-awareness, emotional regulation, and building positive habits, we can cultivate the discipline and focus needed to achieve our full potential. Self-mastery is the key to unlocking a life of purpose, fulfillment, and success. One of the most significant obstacles that hinder personal progress is the fear of failure. It's a natural human emotion, deeply rooted in the desire to avoid pain and discomfort. However, the fear of failure can be paralyzing if not addressed and understood. The fear of failure often stems from past experiences where things didn't go as planned or from a lack of confidence in one's abilities. This fear can stop us from pursuing our goals or taking risks, as we become overly concerned with the possibility of not succeeding. The irony is that this fear in itself prevents us from achieving the very success we desire. Failure, however, is not an end. It is an inevitable and valuable part of growth. It is a stepping stone on the path to mastery and achievement. Every great success story is filled with moments of failure and struggle, yet these moments are not the end of the journey. They are the lessons that shape us and guide us toward improvement. To overcome the fear of failure, we need to shift our mindset about what failure actually means. Instead of seeing it as a defeat, we can begin to view failure as feedback. When we fail, we are given the opportunity to learn what went wrong and how we can do better next time. Failure is not a reflection of our capabilities or worth, but rather a chance to refine our approach, build resilience, and improve our skills. By reframing failure as an integral part of success, we take away its power to control us. When we fail, we simply ask ourselves, what can I learn from this, and move forward with renewed focus and determination. Another key component of overcoming the fear of failure is taking action despite it. It's easy to become immobilized by fear, to overthink every potential outcome, and to hesitate until we feel completely certain of success. But the truth is that there is rarely a perfect moment to act. Success doesn't come from waiting for the ideal conditions, but from taking action and adjusting as we go. The more we take action, the more we build our confidence and lessen the power of fear. It is in the act of doing that we gain clarity and understanding. Every step forward, no matter how small, diminishes the grip that fear has on us. By taking consistent action, we develop the resilience to handle failure and continue moving toward our goals, regardless of setbacks. Failure, in this sense, becomes an invaluable teacher, helping us to refine our strategies and ultimately leading us closer to success. Self-doubt is another internal enemy that many people face. It's the constant questioning of one's abilities, worth, and potential. Self-doubt can be extremely limiting and often prevents individuals from reaching their full potential. When we doubt ourselves, we hold back from pursuing opportunities or taking risks because we fear we aren't good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. This internal voice of doubt often stems from past experiences or negative beliefs that we've internalized over time. It tells us that we are not worthy of success or that we will fail if we try. But the truth is, self-doubt is often rooted in fear and insecurity, not reality. It's a voice that can be silenced through action and self-affirmation. One way to overcome self-doubt is to celebrate small victories. Every achievement, no matter how minor it may seem, is a step forward. By acknowledging our progress and taking pride in the efforts we make, we reinforce our belief in our abilities. This practice helps shift our focus from what we perceive as our weaknesses to our strengths and accomplishments. It also serves as a reminder that we are capable of achieving our goals. Another powerful way to combat self-doubt is through self-affirmation. The way we speak to ourselves matters significantly. Instead of focusing on our limitations, we can begin to speak to ourselves with encouragement and kindness. This isn't about being arrogant or delusional, but rather about recognizing and affirming the strengths and abilities we already possess. By telling ourselves, I am capable, I can figure this out, and I am worthy of success, we start to believe these statements. Over time, self-affirmation can shift our internal dialogue from one of doubt to one of confidence and possibility. It's about creating a mindset that is focused on potential, not limitation. Another powerful tool to overcome self-doubt is to surround ourselves with positive influences. The people we associate with have a profound impact on how we view ourselves. When we spend time with individuals who uplift us, encourage us, and believe in our potential, it becomes easier to believe in ourselves. Surrounding ourselves with a supportive network can serve as a constant reminder that we are capable and deserving of success. Additionally, the encouragement and feedback we receive from others can help to counteract the voice of self-doubt, offering new perspectives and helping us to see our strengths more clearly. It's important to be mindful of the energy we allow into our lives. If we are constantly around people who criticize, belittle, or undermine us, it becomes harder to maintain a positive self-image. Conversely, surrounding ourselves with people who empower us and believe in our potential can be a game changer. The third enemy of the mind is procrastination, a subtle yet powerful force that prevents progress. Procrastination is the act of delaying or avoiding tasks, often because they feel overwhelming, uncomfortable, or because we are unsure of how to begin. It's a behavior that is fueled by fear, self-doubt, or a lack of motivation. When we procrastinate, we allow our fears and uncertainties to take control, and we avoid the discomfort that comes with starting or completing a task. However, procrastination only exacerbates these negative feelings, creating a cycle of stress and anxiety. The longer we delay taking action, the greater the pressure builds, and the more overwhelming the task seems. One of the most effective ways to combat procrastination is by breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps. When a task seems too big or daunting, it's easy to get overwhelmed and put it off. But when we break it down into smaller, more achievable steps, it becomes less intimidating. Each small step we take moves us closer to our goal and gives us a sense of accomplishment. This approach not only reduces the feeling of being overwhelmed, but also helps to build momentum. The more we take small actions, the easier it becomes to keep going. Another technique to combat procrastination is to set specific, realistic deadlines for ourselves. Deadlines create a sense of urgency, which helps to counteract the tendency to delay. By committing to a timeline, we force ourselves to take action, even if we don't feel fully prepared or confident. It's important to recognize that perfection is not required at the outset. Progress is what matters most. Once we take that first step, we often find that the task is not as difficult as we initially thought, and the momentum we build makes it easier to keep going. Lastly, accountability plays a crucial role in overcoming procrastination. Having someone who holds us accountable for our goals, whether it's a mentor, friend, or colleague, can provide the necessary motivation to stay on track. When we know someone is checking in on our progress, we are less likely to procrastinate and more likely to take consistent action. Accountability creates a sense of responsibility, and this external pressure can be just what we need to break through the inertia of procrastination. The act of setting clear goals, creating a plan of action, and sharing it with someone who can support and encourage us is an effective way to stay committed and overcome procrastination. Procrastination is not an obstacle that cannot be overcome. It's a habit that can be changed with discipline, small steps, and consistent action. These mental enemies, such as fear of failure, self-doubt, and procrastination, are universal challenges that everyone faces at some point. However, they don't have to control us. By recognizing them, shifting our mindset, and taking proactive steps, we can overcome these mental barriers and unlock our true potential. Whether it's embracing failure as a learning opportunity, celebrating small wins to boost confidence, or breaking down overwhelming tasks into manageable steps, each of us has the power to defeat these enemies of the mind and achieve our goals. Success isn't about avoiding challenges, it's about facing them with resilience and determination. Distractions are one of the most pervasive enemies of the mind, especially in an age where we are constantly bombarded with information, notifications, and demands for our attention. In today's world, distractions are more accessible than ever. Social media, emails, phone calls, and even our own wandering thoughts can pull us away from the tasks that truly matter. The constant influx of stimuli can make it difficult to focus on a single task for an extended period, leading to a fragmented sense of attention and often a lack of productivity. When we allow distractions to dominate our time and focus, we not only lose valuable hours, but also impair the quality of the work we produce. Distractions undermine our ability to think deeply, be creative, and maintain the consistency necessary for success. They chip away at our mental energy, leaving us feeling scattered and unfocused. One of the first steps in overcoming distractions is to create an environment that fosters focus. This could mean turning off phone notifications, finding a quiet space to work, or setting boundaries with people around us. The environment we create plays a significant role in our ability to concentrate and do meaningful work. If we're constantly surrounded by noise, clutter, or digital distractions, our minds will struggle to maintain focus on the task at hand. It's important to recognize that we can take control of our environment to reduce the potential for distractions. By setting boundaries for when and where we will work, we can create a space that nurtures deep focus and productivity. Another important aspect of combating distractions is time management. Distractions often occur when we lack a clear plan or schedule. Without a well-defined agenda, we may find ourselves drifting between tasks, checking our phones, or engaging in unproductive activities. Time management allows us to allocate specific blocks of time for focused work and ensures that we are not continuously jumping between tasks. By setting specific time frames for tasks and making conscious decisions about where to invest our energy, we can eliminate much of the mental clutter that distracts us. Additionally, time management encourages us to prioritize the most important tasks. When we focus on what truly matters rather than allowing trivial distractions to take up our attention, we can make significant progress toward our goals. One effective time management technique is the Pomodoro technique, which involves working for a set amount of time, usually 25 minutes, followed by a short break. This method helps to keep the mind sharp and prevents burnout. By breaking work into manageable intervals, we can maintain focus and avoid feeling overwhelmed. Another powerful way to fight distractions is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment and cultivating awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. Distractions often arise when we are not fully engaged with the task at hand and our minds wander to unrelated thoughts or worries. Practicing mindfulness helps us stay grounded and focused on what we are doing in the present moment. One way to incorporate mindfulness into our daily routine is through meditation or deep breathing exercises. These practices help calm the mind and enhance our ability to concentrate on a single task. By regularly practicing mindfulness, we train our brains to stay focused even in the midst of distractions and create a sense of mental clarity. In addition to mindfulness, another useful strategy is to limit multitasking. While it may seem like a good idea to juggle multiple tasks at once, research has shown that multitasking actually reduces productivity and increases cognitive load. Our brains are not designed to focus on several things simultaneously, and when we attempt to multitask, we divide our attention, leading to mistakes, lower quality work, and longer completion times. Instead, it's more effective to tackle one task at a time. Focusing on a single task allows us to give it our full attention, work more efficiently, and produce higher quality results. By training ourselves to focus on one thing at a time, we can minimize distractions and achieve better outcomes. Self-discipline is another key factor in overcoming distractions. Developing the ability to stay committed to our goals and avoid yielding to temptations is essential for maintaining focus. Self-discipline involves making the conscious decision to prioritize the task at hand even when distractions present themselves. It requires a strong sense of willpower and the ability to say no to immediate gratification in favor of long-term success. This can be particularly difficult when distractions are particularly enticing, like checking social media or watching TV. However, by building the muscle of self-discipline, we train ourselves to resist these urges and stay focused on the task at hand. One effective technique is to set clear intentions for each day. When we begin the day with a sense of purpose and a defined plan, we are more likely to stay on track and avoid unnecessary distractions. Additionally, maintaining a healthy work-life balance is crucial for minimizing distractions. When we neglect our physical and mental well-being, our minds become fatigued and we become more susceptible to distractions. A well-rested, nourished, and energized mind is better equipped to focus on important tasks. It's essential to integrate regular breaks, physical activity, and sufficient rest into our daily routine. When we prioritize our health and well-being, we increase our ability to concentrate, make better decisions, and stay productive. By maintaining a healthy balance, we also reduce the likelihood of burnout, which can make us more prone to distractions as we seek mental escape. Moreover, accountability can play a crucial role in minimizing distractions. When we have someone to hold us accountable, whether a mentor, colleague, or friend, we are less likely to fall into the trap of procrastination or give in to distractions. Knowing that someone is expecting progress can serve as a motivating factor to stay focused and on track. Accountability creates a sense of responsibility and encourages us to complete tasks in a timely manner. It's not about someone watching over our shoulder, but rather about having a support system in place to help us stay committed to our goals. Finally, it's important to remember that overcoming distractions is a continuous process. It requires awareness, intention, and regular practice. It's not about creating a perfect environment or expecting to always stay focused, but rather about developing habits and strategies that allow us to minimize distractions and maintain our attention when it matters most. Distractions are an inevitable part of modern life, but with the right mindset and tools, we can manage them and stay on course toward achieving our goals. By fostering a productive environment, managing our time effectively, practicing mindfulness, limiting multitasking, building self-discipline, and staying healthy, we can reduce the impact of distractions and stay focused on the tasks that lead to success. In conclusion, the enemies of the mind are not as strong as you think. Fear, doubt, negativity, and lack of self-mastery are all conquerable. But the key to overcoming them is to become aware of them and then take action. When you make the decision to master your mind, you will unlock the power to achieve everything you desire. So my challenge to you today is this: start mastering your mind and watch how it changes your life.